right, your boy Trigger Man back in the lab. And today, what we have here. Today, we're going to take a look at a video from Eastwood, okay? The video is titled 14 Minutes That Could Save Your Paint Job. Don't make these mistakes. We're going to see if we can learn a little something today. So sit with me as I sip, get ready for the night, sipping, and no, it ain't Sprite. Figured I'd jump on, make a quickie. So, let's see if we can learn something out of this. You know how we do it over here. Let's go.
Everybody wants to build their dream car, but people always get scared once they get to the paint part. So today, I'm going to show you how to prep your car to drop off to your painter. Because everybody can be scared of paint, but nobody should be scared of prep work.
I know you guys ain't scared of paint. If you following my channel for some time and you scared of paint, you need to head over to the ranch.
So as you can see, this car has had a bunch of body work done to it. It has an aftermarket rear bumper, aftermarket front bumper, side skirts that are Frenched into the fenders and quarter panels, as well as a sweet roof scoop. Kevin did a bunch of this body work, but he's not a painter. He's a DIY guy, just like many of you out there. So we told him we'd be happy to paint it for him, just do the prep work. Now with that, Kevin did make a couple mistakes, so let's talk about them so you don't get yelled at by your painter. Okay, so the direction we gave Kevin before he dropped it off was sand your car to 600 grit so it's all smooth and ready for paint. Now, right here, there's a couple issues. So he clearly...
Yeah, you bring that stuff to the old Trigger, you're gonna get cursed out, so get it right.
He ran over it with a DA. You can see the back and forth lines. So it's not rough, but we can still see a bunch of orange peel on the primer. So when we go to apply base to that, that's going to show through, and we're going to get orange peel all the way through to our clear coat.
Facts.
That's number one. The second part is there's a hard edge here that's not feathered, and a good guideline.
You see that? Right here, it's feathered, smooth, and then right here, you have that hard edge line, and you're going to see that when you paint it. You'll see it. You might get away with it once you paint it, base it, clear it. It's going to look good for a couple days. But once everything starts to shrink a little, you'll see that line right there. This is feathered, so you're on point. On point.
Is if you can feel it, you're gonna see it. So this is fine. You can't feel that. This has a hard edge. Same thing. If we paint this, you're gonna tell that the primer ended here, even though we have 4 more coats on before clear. And there's a couple instances of this around the car. Same thing. They'll kind of jump out to you when you're looking. So down here, some of this is feathered nice. But then right here, we can see little hard edges. Same thing, that's gonna end up showing in our final coat. Now, as I'm feeling this door, he must...
What that actually looks like over there was that they primed over clear coat, which will still give that look like a hard edge, but it'll be shiny under the clear. So guys, make sure you never prime over clear coat, okay? Horrible, horrible thing. You talk about reactions and all kind of stuff going wrong. Priming over clear coat, something you want to make sure. Priming over unsanded clear coat, shall I say.
Have hit this either with an aerosol afterwards, or just he was running over it real quick. He missed a section of primer. This is really rough. It could be sanding scratches, it could just be unsanded primer, but all of this is going to end up coming through if we don't address it beforehand. All right, so moving up the door, the next thing we run into, right, this is all okay, it's sanded, but there's a bunch of dirt all along here. That's not a problem because this isn't going to be seen. It's going to end up having like a belt line molding on it. But when we go to tape it, one, it's going to be more difficult if we decide to tape down in here. But two, any of this dirt could come loose and then end up in your clear job. So you want to make sure that your panels are as clean as they can be before you drop it off for paint. And then speaking of the dirt on this belt line molding, that brings me to another issue that this car was clearly not blown off or wiped down before it got dropped off. Same thing, as we were saying before, any dirt that you bring in is just another opportunity to mess up your clear coat. So if you can eliminate some of this before you drop it off to your painter, that's gonna be a good thing. Your painter's definitely gonna blow it off and tack off the car before he goes to paint it. Nobody would just spray this. However, you're just eliminating more possibilities for...
Oh, there's some painters out there that will just spray that. You bring it to the old trigger and you tell me it's ready to spray. It's ready to spray.
Ruining your paint job. It's also just a nice thing to do for your painter. All right, as we continue moving down the door, here's a big one, and everybody that has painted before is gonna call this out. There's a bunch of shiny spots right on the edge, right? So this hasn't been scuffed or sanded. Nothing's gonna want to adhere to this, which means your paint's gonna fail over time because nothing will adhere. So this
paint does not stick to shiny, okay? Paint does not adhere to shiny. Anything shiny won't stick, okay? So if you want paint to stick, sand it.
This is an easy one. If you're looking over your car and you see shiny spots, there shouldn't be there. Just run over them with a gray scuff pad before dropping it on.
Also, what I was saying here, another spot where it looked like they primed over shiny area, over clear, unsanded clear. I can see that right there. Make sure your clear coat is sanded. If you're doing a repair, sand further than your repair, a lot further, then do your priming. But make sure your clear coat is sanded before you prime.
For paint. And just a final thing before we move on and stop tearing Kevin apart. There's something like this. This is bad body work, right? So there's a little high spot in here that definitely could have been addressed before it got dropped off. This kind of stuff, your painter is 100% not going to deal with, right? So we'll sand over this and make sure it's smooth, but he's not gonna break out a block and start sanding it down, adding body filler, anything like that. So you wanna make sure you address these issues before you drop it off to your painter, because he's 100% not gonna do it. So anyways.
It depends, it depends. Like when we do work in the shop for El Cheapo, when El Cheapo has that messed up stuff, he's became a good tipper, so I take care of his stuff. And usually I'll take pictures. I'll take a picture or something like that. And then when he comes, I'll show him like, hey man, you know, you had all this stuff wrong, blah, blah, blah. I took care of it for you. So he's been a good tipper lately, El Cheapo.
So with all that said, we're gonna start addressing some of these issues and get this car ready for paint. So we just finished showing you some of the common issues you're gonna run into when prepping a car for paint. But that's all right, because these are easily fixed with one simple tool, a trusty DA sander, also known as an orbital or palm sander. These come in a variety of styles with either PSA or hook and loop backing, and we really like to pair it with an...
PSA is your the sticky sandpaper, which no one hardly uses anymore. And then the hook and loop, that's the Velcro system. So way back, the PSA, that was all there was. You know, there was no Velcro. And then early 2000s or 2000 or whatever, that's when the Velcro started to come in. So
interface pad, so that you don't end up putting hard edges in any of your freshly prepped panels. So let's go ahead and pair that with some 600 grit and get to fixing.
And with the interface pads, I know most of you guys know all this stuff, but there's new guys out there. The interface pad, what it is, it's a cushion. So when you're sanding certain panels, a blend panel and so forth, it's good to use a interface pad so that you don't burn through edges. So what I used to do when I used to prep my own stuff, I have two separate DAs, same exact DA actually. I have a couple sets of DAs, Mac Tools, DAs, Snap-on, but two exact same DA sanders, one with the interface and one with a hard pad, the regular backing plate. And so one DA will be for my blend panels, and then one DA would be for my primer and my areas that are going to get base coat, so that you don't have to keep tearing those things off, because the more you tear off those hook and loop pads, they wear, they tear real easy. So I just have one dedicated DA that has that hook and loop pad on there permanently.
In this thing. So as you can see, we run over the entire car to make sure all of those sanding scratches, overspray, and shiny edges are all gone. We also hit the bumper while we're at it. With the exterior in pretty good shape, we can start to think about how we're going to paint this car. What I mean by that is, this car is getting a color change from black to green, so first we need to address how to paint the jams, and then figure out how to paint the exterior of the car. This process is known as cut-in. Every car is different, and you will have different factors weighing on your decision. For us, we're going to pop off the doors and deck lid and paint the jambs on those parts, and then paint the rest of the car at once, blown apart. This came down to being limited by our booth size and having the best access to the whole jam. Back to the purposes of this video, if you're planning on dropping your car off for paint, make sure to discuss this with your painter beforehand. That'll help make sure you avoid any unforeseen costs and keep you both on the same page.
Communication. Communication is key with everything. Painting cars, mechanic work, surgery. Communication. Communicate, guys.
If you want to take a little more control and save a few bucks, cut-in is a great opportunity to try some low-stakes painting, as most of it is never really seen, so dirt and orange peel are less of a problem.
Agreed.
Alright, that was your quick preview. Let's show you how we did it for this car. First, we had to go over all the jams with a gray scuff pad. Your paint doesn't care if it's on the outside of the car or in a jam. It needs tooth for proper adhesion. The next thing that can be tricky is deciding how far to disassemble your parts for your desired result. The absolute right way is to take everything apart. But in the style of this video, we're dealing with it how it was dropped off to us and how a shop would treat it. Let's use these doors for example. They are nearly complete with glass, window motors, and speakers still in them. So our best step forward is to back tape where we can, then look to see what the door panel covers up, and then use foam tape following along the inner stampings on the door. Again, if you are doing a resto, you should absolutely take the doors apart. But if you drop it off somewhere and don't do that beforehand, they will not do it for you.
We will not. Not. That's a negative. Ooh.
I worked in a body shop for years and I saw this method used,
As E40 would say. Ooh.
all the time. We apply that same mindset to the outer door and deck lid. Finish taping them up and can move into paint. The new color for this car is Kawasaki 777, and we'll be using Eastwood's OEM Select line to get this
That boy got a motorcycle color. Kawasaki. Okay.
job done.
Okay.
If you're unfamiliar, you can search over 75,000 colors by using the tool right on the website, including this one.
And there will be a link in the description to this video as well as to Eastwood themselves. Lots of products, spray guns, paint, welders, everything you need. Everything you need in auto body supplies will be on Eastwood's website. Okay? They got everything. Everything.
Before we get to spraying color though, we're going to be adding a little more insurance to this paint job by spraying a sealer. A sealer coat acts as an additional barrier between the paint and primer underneath and the base coat we're about to apply. It guarantees we'll be spraying everything over the same color and can lead to much better results. Again, discuss with your painter beforehand. If we're doing repairs on a panel or two, we generally just stick with spraying base over primer, but for full dip,
If they're doing repairs on a panel or two, they typically just paint base over primer, not sealer. So they're sealing this because they're doing an entire car. But collision work, if they just have primer, they go ahead and just base right over primer. Goes back to my video about sealer, not needing or have to use sealer for everything. Okay, there you go. Once it's said by these guys, you know it's official.
tips, we like to apply a sealer coat. Our sealer is made by taking our epoxy primer and reducing it an extra 20%. With all of that info, let's get to spraying. We apply one coat of sealer over all of our prepped panels. While the sealer is splashing off, we can get our color ready. Kawasaki 777 is a tri-stage or multi-stage paint, so it's going to take 3 coats of a white ground.
Kawasaki motorcycle paint in a 3-stage? I didn't know that. I mean, y'all can let me know in the comments, but Kawasaki is motorcycle, right? But I didn't know they made a 3-stage for motorcycles. But duh, Trigger, duh.
Coat first, before the green mid coat. Our gun settings are 1.3 needle, 15 to 20 psi, 10-inch fan, 50% overlap, and medium wet. After 3 coats of white, we can move on to the second color stage, the lime green mid coat. Another 3 coats, spraying with the same settings as before. With the base coat all applied, let's get ready for clear. We're using the 4:1 Premium Show Clear, and since we'll be spraying the entire car shortly, slow speed hardener. Our gun settings for clear are 1.3 needle, 25 to 30 psi, 10-inch fan, 50% overlap, and 1 tack coat with 2 wet on wet coats to follow that up and give us a nice shiny finish. With the cut-in done and looking good, your painter will then move the car into paint. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We start by pulling the car and all the parts in the booth. Again, depending on what you discussed beforehand, you may have rehung the doors and deck lid and are just spraying the car whole. That's honestly our preferred method. This one just ended up not working out that way. So now we need to tape this up. Obviously there's a bunch of open areas where there should be glass, the inside of the doors, wiring, etc. If you got courageous and did the cut-in yourself, this is another opportunity for you to save a couple bucks by delivering the car taped up to the body shop. That way, all they have to do is literally pull it in the booth and spray it. On all of these projects, time is money, and it takes about 2 to 4 hours to tape up a car in preparation for paint. At 50 bucks an hour, that could be the cost of your materials saved.
Or you could make some type of arrangement to where you can get to the shop a little early. They may have a section of the shop they allow you to utilize to go ahead and mask up the vehicle. Instead of delivering it actually to the shop masked up, you may be able to get there an hour or 2 early, mask it up, and then go ahead, you know. Or if they really don't like you, they'll let you just sit out in the sun in the parking lot and make you mask it up, and then like call us when you're ready.
We've heard stories of guys taping everything but the windshield and driver's door up, driving it to Mako, and then finish taping it in the parking lot. Again, just make sure to discuss with you.
See what I'm saying? Yeah, I done seen it, man. I done seen it. Trust me. I done seen it, man. I don't just be talking.
Your painter beforehand. With the car taped up, we can wipe it down with pre-painting.
Sit in the parking lot. Hey, it happens, man. It happens. It happens. I done had people sit out in the parking lot, mask up their stuff, man. They bring it. It's ready. It's ready. It ain't ready. Mask that sucker up and bring it in. I'm telling you, man. I tell y'all something. It'll be 100%, man. I don't be playing.
Prep, a tack rag, and then get to spraying. This is the same process as with cut-in. First, we coat everything in 1 coat of sealer. Once that's splashed off, we can spray 3 coats of the white ground coat. And about 20 minutes after the white's dry, we can spray 3 coats of our lime green mid coat. Here's a pro tip. On the underside,
A pro tip. Y'all know pro tips. Where do pro tips come from? Who do pro tips come from? Pro painters.
side of rockers or complex crevices, such as the bumper by the exhaust tip, you need to take some extra care to make sure you get enough color on them. Just spraying in your typical 50% overlap won't cut it. You can see I kind of try and throw the paint underneath these rockers as much as possible. So at least when you're looking at it from the side, it won't end up with an unintended fade from primer to green. Satisfied with our color coverage, we can move on to our clear coat.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm digging that color. I'm digging the color, I like it.
Now with a full dip, you have to take some extra considerations that you wouldn't have to take if you were just painting a panel or two. First is you're almost certainly going to want to use a slower hardener. This is to prevent you spraying over dry clear as much as possible. Take a roof for example. You start on the fender, do the door, quarter, then start on the roof, do the other side of the roof, then run back to the quarter you left a couple of minutes ago, and now it's almost dry and you get a ton of orange peel you don't want. Using a slower clear will get you through some of those confusing moments. The second thing is you will be spraying a lot of material. And you don't want to stop halfway through a panel for the reasons I just mentioned. So get a buddy to mix the next paint cup of clear for you so you can just dump it in your gun and keep moving. Or if you're dropping this off, you can volunteer to be a helper on the day if the painter is up for it. Finally, the other thing with big jobs like this is you need to be hyper aware of where your body is, paint suit, and air hose at all times so you don't accidentally bang it into a freshly cleared panel. With all that in mind, we start clearing. Just like with cut-in, we do 3 coats, a tack, and 2 wet on wet for our desired finish. So if you've been following along, this is the point where your painter would be calling.
See right here, the edge of that there. You know, on those fiberglass parts, those aftermarket fiberglass parts. Again, like he said, the painter's not going to address it, but this is all pitted right along here. I've seen it. I know. That's why it just caught me right there, because I know I've seen this stuff a million times.
Calling you to come grab your freshly painted ride. Congrats! You managed to get one of the most daunting tasks for any project car done. Whether you were behind the paint gun, at the mixing table helping, or simply got the car into primer, you should be proud. And you'll know even more on the next one. Now I'm going to show you a few things that were missed in the bodywork and prep stages that would have made this job come out even better. Things like dings, errors in the fiber.
See? Kind of like I just showed on that hood. Same type of deal. Like on all those different, those aftermarket kits and all that stuff. Like, and also right here. See, there's a little hole. Actually, there's a couple of them. Pinholes there, pinhole there. And also right here. And then look right here. Some cracks back there. Yeah, man, I've seen this stuff a million times, man. That's why I hate doing this stuff, really. It's like, yeah, it's all cheap stuff, you know what I mean? And nobody really wants to pay to get all this taken care of. But yet, they'll come and they'll point it out. Like, they'll bring you the parts to paint. And then, oh, look at this. This little thing. Pinhole. Pinhole. There's something right here. These. Yeah, it's all just crap stuff from China, you know. Wuhan.
Fiberglass body kit and unfeathered bodywork will show up in.
Look right there. Yep.
Your final result. So please, fix them before you drop it off. For this Eclipse, we popped the doors and deck lid back on.
I like the color. Nice looking color. Nice looking ride, period. I like it. I dig it.
And gave it to our buddy Kevin, who was stoked with the outcome.
Stoked. Stoked.
He has since cut and buffed the car and should be heading off to race Dominic Toretto any day now.
Not Dominic
Now
Toretto.
you know what's needed to get your car to the painter. If you want to tackle that project yourself, we do have some more in-depth videos on this channel on how to paint or how to repaint your car. And as always, for any of the tools and equipment you saw here, just head over to eastwood.com.
All right, fellas. Well, I thank you guys for sitting with me again. Hopefully, we learned some little stuff, you know, a couple little things. I'm sure someone had to learn something, you know. Every video, I'm going to make sure it's something that you walk away with. Not just a laugh, but it always be something in there, guaranteed. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. You know, I'm going to go ahead, finish up my Sprite and get ready to head out for the night. Just wanted to drop in with you guys. I'm going to try to do one a week for now to get started with these type of videos. Again, chime in the comments. Let me know if you like it, if you like the setup, the format. You guys feel free to even send me some videos on my Instagram, The Triggerman 954, videos that you want me to do a review on, a reaction or whatever, and let me know. You know, it's just right now we're just freestyling, having fun, man. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, you learned something from it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.